Hello, viewers. We are doing the Goofy Goober Power Rankings for the Gengar division of Trick House. I am joined by one of the members of the Razor Roaders. Like, I myself am a member, and I'm joined by another member, Marshy.
Yeah.
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 Alright, you know what? Well, let's cut to the chase. So, before we start, we have to keep in mind that, this isn't and by no means a prediction of what will happen in, in the league itself. Because, I personally think, prep is very important. And I think with good prep, you can make any team work. So, don't expect this to be an accurate prediction. And it's also like week 5 as well, so we're doing this a bit late. Uh,
To be fair, though, there's a couple teams on here where I don't think the prep's gonna help them very much.
well, that's for the viewer to decide. Actually, no, it's not for the viewer to decide.
Oh, fuck the viewers.
You see, something
I hate those
about
guys.
Mons and Draft and Gen 9, I am very biased. So, if you don't agree with me, well, first of all, you're wrong. And second of all, you're actually not wrong, because different people have different opinions. And we're also very dumb, otherwise known as restarted, so, just keep that in mind. And otherwise, like, certain people may believe in other mons, whereas I wouldn't believe in those mons. So, like, let the person cook if they like the mon. Because I think one of the most important things is that you have to, like, you should just enjoy the mons you're using. Like, be a believer in those mons. Then you can always cook with them, Anyway.
Unless I don't like them on, then it sucks.
That's exactly my point. If you don't like the mon, then it sucks. So, like, just don't draft mons you don't like. Is my advice. Anyways, what's important in a team? Okay, so this is what we're gonna use to decide our power rankings. You always hear this, Gen 9 about offense, blah blah blah, and it's being repeated so much because it's true. Offense can come in a lot of, like, in a variety of things, like just strong priority, good setup, good breakers, and I think, like, well, if you, like, break them down to subcategories, I think good breakers are guys that can click buttons and, like, high base power buttons. But anyways, yeah, and the next category says good priority and speed control. I mean, there isn't much to say. Like,
it goes hand in hand with offense.
Yeah, it's also kind of like, a counter to offense, right?
Yeah. Revenge killers and shit.
No mid-off. This is exactly.
We do not like mid-mons. No bad Pokemon.
Dude, but mid Pokemon, like, completely biased, but, like, also, you can kind of tell when a Pokemon is mid when it just does nothing.
Yeah. Like the Florges, the Quagsires, the
Bags. Okay, good complementing picks. The funny thing is, we made this doc a while ago, so I'm not even sure exactly what the thought process behind this was, but, like, you also just have to have good team synergy, right? Well, it goes hand in hand with, like, versatility in the next point. Good breaking power, you don't want to, like, be passive into certain teams, so you kind of want good ways to force progress. High value, low tier picks. Like, a lot of the low tier picks end up being nothing sandwiches, or otherwise known as mid-offs. So I think there are, like, a couple few, like, in the bash that can actually be brought to games, and otherwise it's like, why do you even bother with these mons, right? So just don't pick those mons that you're never gonna bring. And I think people fall into the rabbit hole of, like, drafting certain mons just to fill specific roles. Like, if you can't imagine yourself bringing a mon to fill a role, even if, or just, like, to a game to fill a role, even if on paper your team has that mon in that role, it's like, what's the point in even bringing that mon ever?
It's
So
like
like,
drafting a 1 point water type that's never going to come to a game just so that you can say you have a water type.
yeah, exactly. Don't draft a whiz cash, basically.
Yeah.
Hazard control. I mean, this is obvious. Like, I mean, most of the time, hazards are like much easier, or hazard removal is easier to punish and rarer. Um, so like, even though the game is fast paced, it's like you can kind of um force progress just by having those hazards. I'm not really sure I'm going where I'm going with this, but I guess it's uh given that every turn is important in Gen 9, you gotta like really punish that the turn they use to remove hazards. So it's not just about like setting hazards, it's hazard control, you know.
It frees up your offense. It frees up your mons. It gives them a turn to get in. It's
Yeah.
some
And
damage off.
then obviously the resistant, like you see the type check mark is something I really hate in draft, but the resistance check mark just, overall makes sense. You don't want to, be weak
You
to,
don't want like a Specs Terramon to just run through your team or Bandit
yeah.
Terramon. If a
Okay.
Terra Blast any type, you're just dead.
Yeah. I guess one category, like now that you mentioned Terramons, a category I should have added perhaps is
Good Terra user.
yeah, I guess like just evaluating the Terra users. But I think in terms of high tier Terra users, it's like it just really depends on what you want. Because I feel like you can cook with basically every Terra user. It's like it doesn't matter if you have Terra Namorous or Terra Excalibur, they're all good options.
Yeah, Terra's broken. If you Terramon, it's going to be
Yeah,
decent. It'll be usable.
just don't Terra Florgs.
Not
Okay,
Terra
our
Force.
first and lowest tier a team is OG Albina's team. Um, I think okay. Well, you see, the good bulk in Zamazenta, Zapdos, Clodsire to an extent. I mean, like all of these mons are kind of well. Besides Zoroark and Lycanroc, these are all like these mons all have like passable to high bulk. So, it's hard to like sweep this team outright, especially with the unaware Claude and obviously the Zamazenta. But like because you have so many do nothing mons and like the points say literally a mid off, because you have these mons. I think you're just gonna lose out most of your games in just on a trading mon basis. Like given that your like Clodsire is like half a mon, like how are you gonna win games? You just simply don't have mons that can like trade for more than just a single mon, you know? Um, basically just no sweepers, I think. You have good hazards with obviously Samurott, and then you have Clodsire and Lycanroc to get up those rocks, you know? But otherwise, like Zoroark kind of just does stuff. Zapdos kind of just does stuff. It doesn't feel like there is like a win condition with this team. Um, Decent breaking, yeah, that kind of makes sense. You have Lycanroc, the king at breaking, Volcanion, also the king at breaking. But yeah, like I said, I just like it's not a bad team by virtue of it like not missing many, like getting very few of the check marks. It's just it has no reliable win content. That's a huge killer in my opinion.
Okay, so there's also the thing where if you look at this team in comparison to the other teams that you'll see later, every mon on this team, like after like the top like 3 or 4, it's just so mid in comparison. Like even Zapdos isn't even that good in this gen because it loses to most of the top tier threats.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with that.
like most of the team's just not gonna cut it.
Yeah, it's just simply not gonna cut it. That's exactly how I'd put it. It's like these mons are just not like half of mons each.
I feel like you really have to just get carried by the Zama to be able
Yeah.
to have decent
I would
success with this.
I would say Zamazenta's a fraud, but I've seen like I can imagine Terra Zamazenta being
Terra Zama's gonna go
yeah,
crazy.
demon. It's pretty good.
Zama and then like Zoroark cleaning.
All right, now we have Masco's team. Um, okay.
Seems really weird.
Yeah, that's my first thought as well. It's a really weird team. You got a lot of offensive options, and I think like that's not the worst thing in the world. Like they always say offense is everything in Gen 9, but I think at some point you got to draw the line. Like you only need certain number of offensive picks. You just might as well round out your team elsewhere.
Like it looks like he just put every one of the highest tier mons on his team at every pick. He just like picked the highest tier mon.
Yeah, and I agree with that even more because I feel like a lot of these picks are the high tier mons that never get drafted. Like
White
is a high tier mon that never gets drafted. Corviknight, high tier mon that never gets drafted. Lando, like kind of the same. Cinderace, the same. These are all like very weird high tier mons. And what I think about this team, and like G King is okay as a backbone, but I don't think it works well with Corviknight because like I think the jump in how passive your team is like far too great. It's like it goes from like hyper offense to Corviknight and G King, which are very abusable. So I think you can just get like abused by I don't know like a bulky Tauntmon with setup. That could easily smoke your team. Because like you basically have nothing stopping it. Yeah. So I think there's just there's not enough balance, and yeah, it just doesn't really feel like a team to me. Like
it's just a bunch of pivots and then like breakers. I feel like he's really gonna have to get carried by Urshifu winning games, and people just like choking to the Aleki.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I want to put it last is just because I can still see him winning games off of like simply trading. It's just, I think it's just really prone to getting swept, honestly, because you don't have good resist to a lot of types. Like you have resist to a lot of types, but you don't have good resist to a lot of them since you only have 2 bulky mons or like.
You're just using Corvin cheeking as blanket checks to everything.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's exploitable.
Like if you draft a team like this, I feel like it's so much better to just go full offense than to draft like Corv G King and like have somewhat of a defensive backbone.
Honestly, I think like this team would have benefited from like maybe an Azelf or something just to be a fast screener to like. Also
yeah, if you had a really good screener on this team, I could see it working pretty well. Other than a Lucky, obviously, but you're not going to use your Terra Lucky to screen.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also the fact that there aren't like the greatest set of mons to abuse it, but there are still decent set of mons to abuse it. So I wouldn't say I still would get screens on this team if I could. Okay, next team, anyways. Ice's team. This is this is actually the funniest team ever. Well, like Sneasler and Amorous, one of the combos of all time, and then just slap on a Cyclozar, and that's cheese.jpg. You have Baxcalibur as well, but I think the main issue I see with this is that like you only really need one guy to abuse Cyclozar. Maybe even one on each side of the offensive spectrum, but I don't think you needed like Sneasler and Baxcalibur, because like you kind of have to focus all your support into one of them, and then the other one is just like sitting there. So there's like a bit of like it's a bit questionable the synergy of the team, but otherwise it's like. It's the like something I noticed in Gen 9 leaks is that you always want to have some potential for cheese wins. Um, like it's really nice to have a strong win con to like go into every game with like a win plan.
And
Um,
this team has a lot of strong win cons.
yeah, so like I think the good part is that you'll go into every game like knowing there's some way you can win. You'll never feel like a matchup is completely unwinnable. Um, but the problem is you only have like, I mean, your win con is pretty linear, I guess. It's Cyclozar into one of your win cons, and I don't know, just set up, really. Um, the screener isn't great for cheese like this. Surely you'd like screens. Um, and the other picks I just don't think complement a cheese team that well. Like I don't
Yeah,
think
I don't get Tinglu, Slowbro, Rotom Heat.
Yeah, like I don't think a momentum drain like Tinglu or Slowbro for that matter would work particularly well with this team.
You should
Um,
have just gone like full offense, get some breakers on there. Breakers pair extremely well with Cycle, and it's like I don't know the the three main mons of the team that Cycle's going to be pivoting into want to set up more than break a lot of the
Honestly,
time at least.
if anything, I like Tinglu on this team. I think Slowbro's the mon I don't get for this team.
Yeah, I really agree. Tinglu's whatever, but Slowbro, it feels like he just like, oh, I don't have a water. Here's the
Yeah,
highest point water on the board.
yeah, no. I completely agree with that. It's like they say, "Oh, I need a water type," and then like a bulky water. It's like people are conditioned into believing, um, every team needs one. But like, I don't know. It's just something about the momentum drain without like any form of support on the slow bro. Uh, just kind of feels awkward with this team. I'm not sure. Um, Otherwise, I guess I'll go to the next team. Next is Inversify's team. This is when I think the teams start to look uh pretty clean. Actually, no. This team is, I mean, it's pretty clean, I guess.
Yeah, this
Uh,
seems
it's
okay.
it's a nice balanced team. Is what makes it look clean on paper. It's got okay speed. It's got the setup options if you need them. Um, it's got the bulky options if you need them as well. Um, the hazard's pretty good. You have Gomora, you have Mesprit. I think the problem with it is, um, I guess like your win cons are a bit weak. Um, you have Terra Zamazenta, which I guess is pretty good, but like people are gonna be prepared for that, I think. And otherwise, it's like Gren, I don't think is gonna cut it, and Thundy doesn't really have the greatest coverage to win games if it's not a Terramon. So I don't think you have the most reliable win cons. I mean, I think that's okay. Uh, you have very strong like individual mods, especially with like Ursaluna at the bottom there. Let's not forget that mod. So like this team isn't bad. Like just because it says 13th, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's a bad team.
Like most of the teams here are good. Like no, I don't think any of the teams here are unusable.
Yeah, and the only I think I'm pretty sure the reason this team was placed so low is out of spite for Aloma Mola being here. Now, I personally don't think Aloma Mola should ever come to a single game on this team. I don't think it provides anything for the team,
No, it's just a
especially with the
negative asset.
facts, especially with the types of mons you have here. It just maybe for your Ursaluna perhaps, like a Wish Passer into your Ursaluna, but yeah, that's the only context I can see it being used.
In Gen
Um,
9, it just gets set up on super easily.
yeah, it's just too much of a do nothing mon. Um, but otherwise, you know, you have like each of your individual mons is very strong. Or well, like I'm just looking at like most of the mons. Most of the mons are very strong. Like you have Zamazenta, very strong. Golden Goat, like offensively strong. I mean, very strong. Greninja, very strong. Glamora, well, high special attack stat. It's strong. Thundy's strong. Ursaluna's strong. So I mean, I guess with Alomomola, you don't have to worry about your team being set of fodder, because, like, it's the only set of fodder on your team. Assuming, I guess Mesprit doesn't come. But, yeah, you don't have to worry about the team being too passive. So, I guess the problem is just that, with no win cons, bringing half a mod will probably not do that well for you, because you kind of just have to win out on the trades, and Alomomola does not help with that.
I don't know. I mean, you could cheese out wins with Zama. You can get like Battle Bond Gren wins, but it's like Gren doesn't always want to run Battle Bond.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you can play around Zama and Gren. Like roughly the same speed tier, you get a fast Scarfer.
Yeah,
You're fine.
it's like it's inconsistent, I think, like the win cons. I mean, I want to put this team past like a cheese win. Anyways, I'll go to the next team. Next we have Ian's team. Off the bat, it's like Dragapult. I mean, Dragapult always looks nice on a draft, you know. I don't dislike Cinderace with it. Iron Tread is a nice pick. The problem is with the team, I feel, is like after the top three. Like if you look at the second row, I think, these. I mean, as much as I think these are mid picks, like I can see these mons being on a good team. I just don't think like you should draft so many do nothing mons on the same team. Like a Screamtail on a team that's like already solid can work really well, but if you're bringing like Screamtail, Glamora, and Rillaboom, which are all support mons, you just don't really have that many slots for real mons. But otherwise, like the top three is nice. You get your speed options with like booster Iron Tread, maybe even booster Screamtail. And when I say pivots, I'm really talking about like I guess the top two, even top three with Volt Switch, but I wouldn't call that reliable. And Rillaboom. But otherwise, I think like I wouldn't really call these mons like solid mons is the problem with this team. Like the mid tiers, like I say here, are mid. And yeah, it just feels like Holt does a lot for the, or has to do a lot for the team. You see, like you
Well,
have.
like Polk can do that. Polk can deadlift teams.
Yeah.
So like that's your saving grace here.
Yeah, that's why this team is 12th, I guess. But yeah, like you have no breaker, I guess. Like no consistent breaker.
Yeah, rely on Cinderace, Life Orb Tread, Specs Pult. It's like you need these specific items to break, and obviously Pult doesn't want to run Specs every week. Cinderace rarely wants to run like Choice Band.
Yeah.
And Treads wants to do its own thing. Spinning rocks, whatever.
And like obviously you have to point out the weird Terramons. Like I get it. If you look at the team, I'm pretty sure Pult is Terra banned, and the other option don't look great with Terra. So like I get it.
Yeah, you just could have drafted a better mon with your high tier picks, because drafting Rillaboom, Screamtail, like I get Glamora, but like you could have done better with your points and invested in a high tier Terramon, and you have a more reliable win con.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
gonna help a lot.
I mean, you just gotta stick to the like hyper offense, kind of. You can't like draft support in three of your mid tier slots. But otherwise, like Pull is a really good draft mon, so I wouldn't like this team could very well have Polt fill all these roles anyways. Uh, I guess that's why it's 12th and not 16th. Anyways, moving on. Next we have Theo's team. Um, it's funny. You see, like I said at the start, I wouldn't be talking specifically about the players, so I'll, I'll, I'll talk about Theo's team, unassumingly, you know. So it's funny that I say win cons is the first, the first, the first description of this team. But I guess you have your nasty plot Torn, you have your Quaquavel, who always does duck things. You have your Volcarona. All very scary win cons. And you know, with those scary win cons, you can kind of like force certain things out. Like the problem I see with a lot of pivots is that it doesn't just take U-turn to be a pivot. You need to get a mon in safely and get in the right mon in safely. So it's really nice sometimes to be able to force out a mon into a specific counter to really pivot into whatever you want to be pivoted in. Which Quaquavel does nicely with U-turn. Torn, like to a lesser extent, but usually the Torn answers are very obvious on a team, which is why I'm saying good positioning ability. You can position your mons in very well here, I think. I think the support is nice. Like you have strong priority, you have like I don't dislike Pex on this team. It's like it's not abusable just because it doesn't feel abusable just because it's not like the whole team is centralized around it, and it just feels like an added in mon just to maybe check, like just to be a helmet mon for like maybe 1 or 2 threats. Because like otherwise you have very good answers to stuff without it. You have a lot of bulky offensive mons. You have strong priority, like I said, Encore Tinkaton. So you have a lot of workarounds to like just threats in general. Would you like to add anything?
I mean, the team has a really strong like top 6, whatever, Tinkatons, whatever. But like, you have really good setup threats. But I think the thing that draws this team back is just the passive backbone. I mean, obviously Theo, he's gonna have his stalwart.
his entire team's the backbone.
True. But like the Sableye, Pex, G-Bro, it's like they're just do nothing mons. They're not gonna apply too much pressure, and they're gonna slow down your own momentum. So Scizor with no recovery, it's like he's not gonna be able to pivot in to get in your top tier breakers or your setup mons. So you're gonna rely on like E button spam with like Pex, G-Bro.
Yeah, maybe. I was just thinking, cause like at least if you go to Masco's team, I was thinking like the mons he has besides Corv and Slowking have no defensive utility whatsoever. But I was thinking, at least in Theo's case, like even though you have like Pex and G-Bro, your other mons do have defensive utility. Garchomp is pretty bulky.
Yeah, everything on this team can run like a fat variant.
Yeah, and that's how Theo likes to draft usually. So like I kind of like this team, but you know, as the negatives of the slide say, his team is pretty slow. Yeah, like a lot of the mons have to be fast like by getting things going, like with Aqua Step or with Quiver Dance. You just don't have like initial power or initial speed.
Yeah, you also just don't have a really good Scarfer. I mean, Garchomp, I guess, and then like if you really want to try, you can do like Volcarona, I guess, or Quaffle. But like your Scarfer is not that great, so you're gonna rely on priority to carry your speed, and then obviously Torn.
Yeah. And it also feels like you can't particularly rely on some of the win cons in this team just by virtue of them not being Terramons. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like Quack and even Fog, I think, don't really need Terra to work, but they're like significantly easier to check.
They're not going to do as much.
Yeah. So, like, maybe you'd have trouble finding consistent win cons. But otherwise, I think the team just consists of pretty solid mons. So, overall, a decent team. Anyways, moving on. Next is Legit's team. Now, the funny thing is, like, wait, I think, yeah, you were the one that, like, yeah, you were defending this team a lot.
It's a good team. I mean, I don't think any of these teams up here are bad.
Yeah, they're not. Wait, there's no dragon resist.
Yeah, that's okay.
Wait, why do we say no fairy? Wait, there's also no dragon resist.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, if I were in charge of, I was in charge of making this kind of, but if I were super in charge of making this, I'd have put this team lower. But okay, all right, I'm gonna struggle to like defend. How about you talk about this?
I mean, yeah, no, I really think that this offense looks super good. I'm not the biggest Annihilate fan, but getting it round 4 is crazy good. Chomp, Chanpao, and Annihilate just crazy. They all carry the offense so much. You have Slowking to pivot everything in, Zapdos to get everything in. You have a solid like support core. I wouldn't call it a core, but you have solid support with Donphan, Overquill, a really good Scarfer, and an extra breaker with Zoroark. The last 2 months do literally nothing, but like I don't know. Even with the bad like type chart matchups, I guess, I think you can really out offense a lot with this team.
Perhaps, but like I don't know if that's consistent. Like it just really feels annoying to put yourself in the back foot for dragons and fairies every week.
So the thing with that is Annihilate abuses fairies hard. Well, Terra Annihilate at least. Yeah, like most of the fairy types in this gen suck. Like they're really just awful, except for like the very few like high tiers like Enamorous or whatever. But
no, but
Terra Poison's just so free.
I guess the problem is when I think of a team being fairy weak, I always just imagine a Scarf Terra Fairy Enamorous versus that team. So like when I picture a Scarf Terra Enamorous versus this team, I'm like, wow, that goes in. But yeah, like bulky Annihilate is very bulky. So like like building into this team, I would be aware of that. But the problem is the fact that like it has no resist to 2 types. Like, that is just something, like, maybe one type you can overlook, but, like, it just gets excessive after the second type, you know?
I think Slowking does a really good job at just being a blanket check to, like, fairy types. Most of them are special attackers, obviously. So, like, you can run, like, E-Button Slowking, and then you just get in your Chanpao Claim 1. And it just really helps to have these speeding breakers in Chanpao and Zoroark, so you'll always be able to revenge kill with either priority, just outspeeding, or Scarf Zoro. I don't know. I don't think the defense is too much of an issue. because this gen, I feel like it's just all about offense.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Like, I don't dislike the Slowking here. It's like a certain team, like I said, blanket checks are only bad if your team just lacks defensive utility whatsoever. But
Yeah, no, the blanket checks are fine as long as they aren't passive in themselves. And I mean, Slowking can pivot, so it gets your Qian Pao in, and it gets your Garchomp in, and whatever.
yeah, I just don't like teams that have their only bulk be these blanket checks like Slowking. I mean, it's fine like this, I guess. Um, but I mean, it's also the fact that I find a couple of these mods a bit mid, like Donphan, Cope Removal, and then Zapdos. It kind of finds a hard time having a niche in this gen. Uh, it like doesn't do anything particularly well is my problem.
I mean, I think it fills a good offensive. It fills a hole as a good offensive piece on this team. Because it's just another pivot to get in Qian Pao. It's another pivot to get in Garchomp, and it really enables like the top three, I guess, to do their own thing. Obviously, Annihilate instead of Slowking.
Enables Slowking to do something. Okay, on to the next one. Raikai's team. Um, Honestly, the funny thing is like, I Horse is a weird mod to me. I actually think Horse is like the most like perfectly rated mon ever. Like it's not um it's not overwhelming, but it's not really a fraud either. Anyways, yeah, it's hard to say this team doesn't have breaking power when you have Urshifu, and then to top it off, you have like high. I mean, Spectre isn't really a great breaker. Like I said, breakers need like breakers also need high base power moves to be strong, and Spectre really suffers from that. But Azu is a good breaker. Um, and that's kind of all you need, especially when you have Urshifu. Um, you have speed control just because you have like nice support with a Prankster, T-Waver. You have Spectre that gets a couple of support moves. Strong Priority and Strong Scarfer and Urshifu. Strong Priority in Azu and Talonflame. Like, I don't think you're gonna have many issues with speed setup mods. Maybe like bulkier ones, but um, I don't think like fast glass cannons are gonna be an issue at least. Um, you have I, I mean this is a really superficial point, but yeah, you have strong pivots just with the fact that you have pivoting moves and chilling reception, and you turn on a couple of your mons. And but the problem with this team is possibly like the hazard control in this team. It's you have a lot of guys that you just wouldn't want to get like spiked on, Tinglu, Azu are examples of mons that like kind of get crippled by spikes, as well as Urshifu. And you potentially want to defog them away with your Talon, but that's kind of that's kind of anti-synergy with Tinglu. So it's kind of a weird duo to have Talonflame and Tinglu, and then no Spinner on your team. Especially because you drafted one of the good ghost types, so like it's easier to get that spin off with one less Spectre out there. Anyways, Shifu Spectre deadlift. Yeah, a bit of the problem with this team is that well, once again, it's a bit of a mid off. A lot of mid option. Like it's not it's not like each of these individual mid mons are bad. It's just when you put a lot of them together, it's like Azu is just a bit of a bulky offensive mon. Um, Ting Lu is just like a fat wall. Earthworm sucks.
I mean, most of the mons, they have their own niche, but they don't excel at their niche. They're just good at their niche.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have
Like
like a
apart
very
from the
like
top,
too average of a team.
yeah. I'll literally just most of the mons are just mid at what they do.
Like, yeah, I mean, Shifu Spectre kind of like Deadlift kind of sums it up well. It's like your breakers are those two, your win cons are those two.
Yeah, those are going to be making your progress, and then everything else is just support that's going to chip everything down for you to win with one of the two.
Yeah. Moving on. High Jump Sean, who replaced Ryan. Oh, by the way, I'd like to mention a lot of these teams have changed since these slides were made because well, we delayed them a bunch.
Yeah, we made these like a month ago.
Yeah, so these are slightly outdated, but that's okay.
It's okay.
And also, High Jump Sean replaced Rai. I think I literally said that.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's actually kind of funny that the number 2 thing is Vroom, because as of a couple of weeks ago, I think he drafted a Revavroom, replaced like I guess Klefki or something with his Revavroom. Anyways, well, Vroom as in, well, you know, this team looks very fast. It's hard to say otherwise when you have, I mean, like a great Scarf option in Amorous, you have like a great, I guess, booster speed option Bundle, and otherwise just already very fast.
You have like a million Scarf options with this team.
Yeah. Sneasler, very fast Mon. Cycle, also very fast. Anyways, good blanket checks, Uxie. I mean, I think blanket checks is exactly what you need for this team.
Yeah, Rotom, Uxie, Klefki.
Like, you don't have to rely on like solid checks to Mons when it doesn't look like the game, like you expect the game to last very long anyways, like given the cycle Enam / Sneasler cheese you already have going for you anyways. So once again, this is a team that benefits from cheese. Just having cheese, because solid win cons just automatically means you just won't be feeling like a game is unwinnable. Like, you'll just never get into a situation where your game is unwinnable. Good.
I mean, there's really good screen support for all of the win cons. He has like 3 screeners, and they can all like confidently run screens in a lot of matchups.
Yeah, it's like it's got the most synergy out of these cheese teams, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I guess like being a cheese team is good, but it's like it's a high floor but low ceiling, I think. Because once again, it's one-dimensional, and just with enough prep, like you kind of know what's coming. So it's just a matter of how to deal with it.
Yeah, that's gonna happen a lot with Cyclozar teams.
Yeah, and like that's gonna be a problem, because if your approach doesn't work, if they're prepared for your approach, then like your lack of sustainability and the fact that your checks are only blanket checks will just like come to bite you in the back later, because you don't have like the longevity to win in a sustained match. So basically, it's just the problem of you hoping your games will end quickly, because otherwise, like, it just won't look good for you. Anyways, next team. Slick's team. Iron Hands. Dude, I unironically see every Iron Hands team and think it's immediately significantly better.
Such a
Um,
good mon.
yeah,
So
it's an
fair enough.
awesome mod. I feel like it rounds out so many of like your slots. You don't really have to worry about your defensive
Yeah, I
backbone.
mean it's just a non-passive blanket check.
Yeah, he's awesome. Doesn't need boots. Doesn't I mean, I guess you have a great spinner and iron treads. Okay, well, okay, it doesn't need boots some of the time. Like, okay, you have a lot of mons that would appreciate boots, but um, you don't perhaps like need it in every matchup if you can.
I think it's more like this team's gonna win before they die to hazards.
Well, yeah,
Like he
that's
has
also
so much
true.
offensive pressure. Besides like the Amoongus, obviously.
Yeah, it's not like your mons are really great at doing their individual things anyway, so it's not like you need to worry about being forced to switch that much anyways. Like you're definitely not going to be forcing long games. So, despite having a lot of rocks weak mons, um, I don't think it'll hurt you that much. And obviously, you still have your iron treads in the back in case that ever does become an issue. Now the problem is, you see the other teams we were mentioning strong pivots just leading up to this moment where a team didn't have that U-turn mon, that token U-turn mon. Um, Treads is a volt switch mon, I guess. Like it's an okay pivot. Bundle you don't really want to be pivoting out of. Like I would never consider Bundle a great pivot.
Yeah, no, it's a Terra bundle. You just want to be clicking hydro pumps, ice beams,
Yeah,
whatnot.
exactly. Um, but like Treads is an okay pivot, but I wouldn't call it the greatest at forcing stuff out.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean you're not going to be clicking volt switch a lot with it either because it
yeah, that
really just
that too,
can't
because
fit it.
like it's it attracts ground types.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the like if you're going for short games, a lot of the pivoting options you're gonna rely on are eject buttons, because otherwise your Amoongus is unfortunately not gonna do anything. Your Diancie not gonna do anything. Um, these are I mean, like this is where my inherent bias really comes into play, because I think these mods are just bad. Um, so I think if they're not running eject button, they're doing nothing. Um, passive, yeah, because like they're too passive. Um, Amoongus is like possibly the most exploitable mon in like ever. So you don't
Yeah,
ever want to be
just
relying on it.
goggles, sleep talk, whatever.
Yeah, you don't ever want to be relying on it, I think. And
But as long as it
Diancie,
has a button, you're cooking with it.
facts. Like Diancie can also work as a button user, but like actually provide a niche to the team, I guess, just by clicking hazards. It's not the worst thing in the
Yeah,
world.
rock spikes, encore, I guess trick room with hands,
Oh, that
whatever.
cooking. Sheesh. Anyways, on to the next team. We have Lex's team. Um, wow. Now, if you're talking about like speed, like you see the first two options, like this is Lightning McQueen. What more can you ask for? Um, like, I mean, you just have like 5,000 like 18-point mons. Like, what is this?
Like I don't know how half these mons drop to him. Like Chi round 5, Annihilate round what is that, round 8?
Round 8. That is way too funny. Like just like listening to this on paper, it's just like Chen Pao, Reggie Elke, Chi Annihilate, like Lando T. What? How does a human get this?
Yeah, it's just a lot.
Like, why is the worst mod in your top 5 Lando T? That doesn't make sense. Um, and like on a team like that, the only thing you really need is just a blanket check that can pivot into these options. Um, and you know, Slowking's a great mon for that. And I mean, you have like okay button users, and like I like the Muck pick. It's like a low tier option that
Yeah, Muck's always going to be a good pick. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it blanket checks like a lot of high tier
No, I don't
physical
even think
fighting
it's a
types.
blanket check. Um, I think it's a good check to Mons. Like, it's got access to great support moves, just like poisoning them. Um,
Haze and whatnot.
yeah, Haze. And
T-Spike.
yeah, not a lot more you can ask for. Um, and like otherwise, your offense, like the offense you're pivoting into, like you'll never like find a point where you don't have Revengers, and the best you know, the best feeling in Gen 9 is like chilling out and seeing like good revenging options to switch into, and Lux will always have that feeling. You
Yeah.
know, it's like Chi Yu, Chien Pao, and Reggie Eliki like ready to be pivoted into. It's too free. um and of course you have, I guess, the WinCon and Ape. If you really needed it, which I don't think you do with like so many broken mons anyways. Um, but of course we have to say something bad about this team, and that it's over reliant on Slowking. Um, and it's like Slowking isn't a great mon to be over reliant on. Like I guess. I mean, I think the main worry would be like agility mons, because your resists aren't great on this team. Um,
Yeah, again with the blanket checks, eject buttons, you're just gonna have to pivot out with getting your offensive mods and just revenge kill.
yeah. Yeah, I guess yeah. My real problem would just be like a strong setup mon, because like a lot of your team is pretty frail just by virtue of the like their resists not being great. Like you don't.
Yeah, really just got annihilate Lando T. Like non-terra annihilate is it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not gonna win you games like a terra annihilate would though.
Anyways, on to the next team.
Anyways, as we hear mid.
True.
Yeah, pretty mid.
I also we haven't been talking about hazard removal that much, but this team has the blatant weakness of not having any hazard removal. Oh no, it has Eliki. My bad. But
Yeah, but Aleki doesn't want to spend too often.
yeah,
I mean, it's Terra. Like you want to click Terra Blast, you want to click
Yeah, you
T-Bolt.
want exactly. You want to just fucking pop it with it, meaning that fucking Chien Pao and T will be hindered.
True. And the problem with that is that I mean, I guess you have Chien Pao, you have Chi Yu, and you definitely don't want to be running boots with this, because like the good thing about this team is that you have great Revengers to pivot into, so you don't want to lose that by giving them boots. Anyways, on to the next team. Next is Kyle's team. Now this is when this team start looking pretty. Well, just based on the colors, this looks nice, but also based on the mons. If you just like ignore, put your hand over that little flower in the middle of the screen, this team has got mono good mons, I think.
Yeah, like all of these mons are usable.
Yeah, he has Greedon.
True.
And okay, you got a very balanced team. That's what I like about, like, that's the beauty of Tusk teams. It's like it's a very versatile mon. And this team can like do a lot of things, I think. Like each of these mons can really be anything they want to. Like you have like bulk in some of these mons. You also have setup or like potential Scarfer or Booster mons like Iron Moth, Golden Go, Hydreigon. And you know, you always have to mention the U-turn mons. You have plenty of those. Hydreigon. Iron Moth, Greninja, uh, Kilowattrel, and you also have good speed. You don't have to worry in that department, so it just like fills all the check marks basically. Now the problem is that I guess it's like it just like as much as it is strong in every category, it's not very strong in every category. Like I said, it lacks a bit of immediate power. You don't have like the best breaker in the world. Tusk is okay, but you kind of want it to. I mean, like in a lot of matchups, you want it to be a support mon, anyways, or like not breaker kind of offensive level, but maybe in some matchups. Lacks a bit of a win con as well. You have setup, but you don't have the best setup, is what I'm thinking. Like Iron Moth is your like best semblance of a win con, or Gren maybe, but those aren't always the most consistent. Would you like to add anything?
I mean, like, I mean, it's a Tusk team. Tusk teams aren't going to look bad.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll add
with
on.
the Florges.
Well, Florges is fine for like, I guess, just like witch passing, aromatherapy and shit. Overall, the team's good. It has a speed tiers. It's not resistant to anything. The main issue I do see is just that 90% of the mons are special attacking based. Your main physical attacking breaker is Great Tusk. While that's good, like, you'd prefer to have something extra. Otherwise, you'd be forced to get to know assault this mons to cover like the entire rest of the team.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a bunch of AV spam on the opposing side.
I mean, you also have mixed Gren.
Okay, but have you considered SD Greedent? Yeah, I don't think you have.
Oh.
Damn, I missed that. And it's Terra too, so like it'll easily clean every game.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey man, mixed Gren. Also mixed Hydra. That's what I was saying, you know? Versatile mons. Like, these mons...
Coil to Dunsparce.
Yes, the main physical breakers.
I really wouldn't sleep on the Dunsparce. It's not the worst mod in the world.
It's
like,
good.
It's okay.
It's pretty fat.
Facts.
Like Marshy.
No!
Now, next we have Zooch's team. I think Zooch is actually cooking the competition. Well, as for the number 4 team, I guess. I mean, I just like his top 3. These are, and well, top 4, yeah. Oh wait, we said that in the slides. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are amazing mons, I think. Dragapult is very good, actually. Palafin is not. It's not the best mon in every team, but
Yo, this guy has 2 Ubers. What the hell?
Whoa.
That's not fair.
Wait, does he?
I mean, legally speaking, no. But draft-wise, yeah, I think 2 of his mons should not be allowed in the format.
Yeah.
Oh. Palafin?
Yeah.
Goldfish
Illegal.
is
Pole, it should not be allowed, but Palafin's okay. It's pretty.
Palafin is really overwhelming.
I don't know about really.
You click bulk up, and then like 70% of matchups you just win on the spot.
You're done. You literally DM'd me today with a matchup, and you're saying, how does Palafin not just turbo smoke?
Exposed live on camera.
Okay, I've seen Palafin be very underwhelming, as well.
I don't think so.
It's well rated. But I also think it works really well on this team too. You know, it actually, like, this team works really well to keep offensive pressure, but like actually though, because like you have like pivot options that are also like strong pivot options, like you know, Protean U-turn hitting for massive damage, and like every turn I think is gonna be an important turn with these mons. It's hard to have a wasted turn with like Lando with such that has such good move slot options, Meowscarada with such good support options, and then Palafin, well, has Flip Turn. And I mean, I guess Screamtail is like a bit of a momentum drain for your team, but it's kind of the blanket check you need for this team to a lot of threats. I guess the only problem with this team would be the Heatran. Like, I get why you would Terra the Heatran, but I guess the point is, why even bother with Heatran?
I mean, there's a Lando T. Lando T is infinitely better as a Terra Mon.
Oh,
He
I mean, Heatran just sucks. But
That's
yeah,
it.
Heatran is. There's no really other way to put around it. Heatran is just ass. However, the rest of the team is pretty sex, so we'll allow it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Quillfish is a decent low tier option. The problem is the other two, Blissey and
Yeah,
Oricorio,
Blissey's
are actually
literally
terrible.
useless.
I
Hey,
don't think,
Blissey forces prep,
I don't
is
think
what they
these two are
say.
They have to
ever-
run one physical attacker.
Anyway,
Yes.
and now we're on to the top 3. Introducing.
Holy
Hold on,
smokes.
wait, go back.
Hi.
Go back.
I just wanted to say that I recently beat Radical Red version 4.0 using Masquerada as my starter. Okay, you can go on
That
now.
is awesome.
Was it
Honestly, the
hardcore
best
mode?
starter.
It was a
I
normal
have-
mode.
Is there
Wow,
oops,
fraud.
But I had EVs on, so my Meow was slower than base 100s at some point,
Nice.
and it was very sad.
Okay. Next team. You see, this is like superior to Kyle's team because this is a round 2 toss. So like it checks all the
Ooh.
boxes, but even better because like now you have like a
Because you got it a later round. Whoa.
If you have a
So it's
This is
Torn.
literally the same team, though.
Yeah, but it literally is.
But
the
as a
same
Sam
team, but now it
Hisui,
has
that
a
makes it
Torn.
way more sex.
as a better Terra user.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the point is, what was Kyle's Terra user? Oh, Moth.
Moth.
But like, I mean, honestly, I think Moth doesn't really work as the win con you'd want your Terra Mon to be, even if you do give it Terra.
Yeah, I mean, Terra Moth is usually just Breaker. You just run like Specs Overheat or whatever,
True.
or like Scarf Overheat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like the hyper carry. I mean, Torn is honestly not even the greatest hyper carry either, but I think it's just enough to put TJ's team a little bit above Kyle's. Push it over.
I think you also just have better pieces like below the top 3. Like Jesus Samurot's just really broken.
Yeah.
Hydra's good. Uxie Tinkaton, decent support.
I mean, I guess my problem with it is that Uxie and Tinkaton are like literally the same mon. I don't know why you.
That is true.
But otherwise, like the mons are just all great, solid mons. I like how I said slightly overrated Terra here. I was saying that Torn.
So you're not saying that Torn shit.
Basically.
A hot take.
No, Torn's so good though. What do you mean?
Dude, Yurda
What's
plays in
his
TDT, gets carried by Torn, and then it's like, yeah, it's not that good.
What the heck?
Actually crazy.
He was
Insane
fucking with that
behavior.
one.
Okay, I think like the thing is breaker sets aren't. I mean, honestly, I think breaker sets are the best sets for Torn, but I don't think Nasty Plot Torn is kind of the win con you need for this team. Maybe not consistent enough. But once again, that is okay. You have very solid mons, and like now with this team versus the other team, it's like you have different breaker options other than Tusk. It doesn't need to be like it needs to be even less linear this time, so it's like even more versatile than the last team.
Yeah, I just realized something. Remember in Gen 6 when it's like if Torn T hits Hurricane, it's probably gonna get a kill?
Hi.
Well, Terra flying just brings that back.
Yeah.
That's why it's so good. Oh my god, I've cracked the code.
Yes, and he has a more accurate Hurricane too.
Alright, you know my problem
Run
with this
Hurricane.
draft?
Run Hurricane.
What
Iron
is the
Moth
issue?
with no Terra is like really unviable.
What?
I disagree.
It's just okay.
Dude,
It's
I
not-
want to
bro,
run
it's still
Pure Water
pretty
to
fucking
hit
good.
the Heatran though. Oh
Dude,
my.
it's so mid.
No,
And
not the
also, you
heat train
can't
that you could just
justify it as
U-turn on.
Terra over the Torn. It was kind of rough, you know?
Well, you know, that's one of the takes of all time. On to the next one.
What do you mean?
Okay, this team actually looks extremely pretty.
This guy also has 2 Ubers.
This team looks kind of
Potentially 3
awkward.
Ubers, depending on who you ask.
Wait,
I don't think Volk is bannable, but some people may think, you know?
it's literally banned, but
Yeah,
in
Volk without
draft, you
Terra
idiot.
is
Mon.
In
Volk without
draft,
Terra is
shut
literally
up.
banned.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, didn't you know that Frostmoth is banned?
Bro, did he spend 18
Okay, let's
points on a
discuss this team.
Volk that doesn't Terra? Question mark.
Crazy.
Now,
My mind isn't minding.
Doesn't Trickhouse do like separate point values for
Oh,
Terra
do they?
and
Like
non-Terra?
DGBA?
no, that's DGBA that does.
No, I think Volcarona was just Terra banned and it was at like 12 points or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Oh,
Whatever.
With 12 points,
whatever.
it's 12 points. Wait, don't need
12
Terra for
points. Wait, why is it not 8?
Hey, wow.
Wait, I just realized something. This team has a Bramble Gas, and that's why it's so high in Yurden's
that. Oh,
ratings.
I see.
But that
yeah.
is
If,
fucking
if,
And
ridiculous.
Noivern, sheesh!
dude, if that was a Lurantis right there, it'd be 14th maximum.
True.
Facts.
Okay, so, looking at the top 6, you know, we'll talk about the bottom 5 later. Unimportant, by the way. I don't know, I said broken top 4, but realistically, it's like broken top 7 even. These are, like, there isn't really much to say. These are all, like, fantastic mons. Spectrier is pretty good. Iron Valiant's good. Terra King Gambit's him. Rotom Wash is a solid mon. Noivern High Darkrai is a good mon. He's very fast. Like, I mean, he's kind of the flying type for the team. He's also fast. Very good support options. Blah blah blah. Volk is. I mean, Volk maybe doesn't really fit the greatest on this team, but honestly, I think it'd be a nice addition to this team. Like, maybe even as a Scarfer or a Spexmon. Just ignore rocks entirely. Like, if you really want, you have your removal options with Noivern or Brambleghast. I just wouldn't really use Volk as a Quiver Dance mon, just because you have other mons that already fill that WinCon role anyways. A lot of them actually. Iron Valiant, King Gambit, Spectrier. And now I think Clodsire is good here, just as like just as, you know, a failsafe for this team. You know, because everyone knows it has the ability Unaware, and I don't think you have to worry about any offensive options besides like the really demon setup ones. So like if people are trying to set up to like break past King Gambit or like a fast mon like Iron Valiant, it's really nice to have Clodsire there just to, I don't know, prevent that. It's kind of like a nice place for an Unaware mon to be, I think. And obviously you have the best low tier in the game,
Tropius.
Yeah.
Darn.
Okay, fine, you have Earth Ring as well, but like these are 2 great low tiers. Like Tropius and Frostmoth are, I mean, okay, I guess.
It's Terra Frostmoth. I mean, you're not going to be terroring
Yeah,
it
picture
ever.
of a
Yeah.
Tropius.
I mean, well, I did say you have to draft only mons you're gonna bring to games, but at some point you just don't even have enough points to bring usable mons anyway. So yeah, just draft your Frostmoth if you want it. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it'll ever come to a game, but or maybe it won't ever terror. Actually, I could still imagine it coming to a game and terroring, but like if it doesn't win, Like, it just means that King Gambit won't do anything, and that's a bit of a problem. Anyways, now that we've discussed the second best team, complimented it a lot, what could possibly be the best team? I think it's like a literally identical team. Oh, I mean, it's decently identical.
I mean, Iron Valiant, Terra King Gambit, but
Yeah,
with just better mons.
Dude, this is once again a crazy team. Like, are you seeing this top 5? Like, Iron Valiant, Palafin, Meowscarada, King Gambit, and then like the token hazard mon Sandy Shocks. Like, why do people even draft Garchomp when you can get a Sandy Shocks that like hazard sets in the exact same way and even has access to booster energy? It's crazy out here.
It's broken.
That is pretty crazy, man.
That's one of the things you've ever said, yeah.
Dude.
Shocks is just Garchomp. It's so true.
Yeah, it is Garchomp because they're both ground types, you know.
If you
Yeah,
squint your eyes.
You squint from 5
The
miles
funny
away,
thing
they're
is-
the same
The funny
exact
thing is,
mon.
I was trying to argue that Venga's team was better than Cookie's team.
I think it is.
Oh no, it's like Spectrier versus Palafin.
Spectre is like the best Pokemon of all time this gen.
Yeah, Spectrier is
But like,
broken.
the worst part is that Marshy is a disbeliever in Amoonguss, so it's like, why was Marshy defending this team? But
No,
like,
I hate Amoonguss, but
at
like
the same
Palafin is
time,
broken.
I think like the difference between the two teams is negligible, anyways. Like, I think
Yeah,
we can all
I think
just
I think
agree
both of these are number one.
These are both great teams.
Well,
Marshy does not understand numbers.
Yeah, that's not how power
Exposed.
rankings work. Yeah, so these 3 are going to be number 1. These 4 are going to be number 2. No number 3s though.
Wow, 7 top 2 drafts.
Wow, that's
Straight
great.
to number 8.
Brilliant.
Okay, I think, like, I'd say the problem, okay, wait, I didn't, oh yeah, the hazards in this team are a bit inconsistent, because, like, you don't want to have King Gambit, like, setting up hazards, and besides that, it's just Clodsire. I don't know if you want to be wasting those turns, so it's whatever. That's what I mean by inconsistent. Here, it's like, okay, the hazard setting is very nice. You have your Shocks, you have Meowscarada as well. But I mean, like, the problem is your removal, I guess. That's not, I mean, and the problem's like with Palafin as well. You don't want to be taking that hazard chip, twice. So you want to have a consistent way to get rocks off, at least in certain matchups, which you barely have at all. I guess there's Drifblim, but you have Magic Bounce, I guess.
No, you don't. Espeon is never coming to a game.
Yeah, that's the
It
problem.
is not touching the field. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it has a niche as a screen setter. It's usable.
As a niche, as a benched mon, yeah.
And the other problem is that a lot of your important mons are grounded, so I'm like, spike stacking is a viable strat into this team, methinks. But otherwise, like, you're like hitting all the check marks. You got very fast options, good priority, obviously, and you got great bulk as well. Just a lot of do everything mons, basically, like strong and super bulky mons with like support options as well, which is what I really like about this team, I guess. Does anyone else want to add anything?
If you're not spike stacking versus this team, you're probably just gonna lose to the offense before you can kill everything.
Even if you do spike stack, can't you just run like triple boots?
Yeah.
Like with Meow, Moltres,
Boots, King Gambit.
and Amoonguss?
Why did you suggest like the weirdest mons on his team?
What?
Why did you suggest Moltres and Amoonguss?
Yeah, why would Moltres ever wear boots? Are you stupid?
Yeah.
My bad.
You're forced to run
Holy-
boots
Yeah,
mold
Boots
trace.
Moltres.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
sure
not.
that
It's
was
not
fucking
affected by
ruined.
spikes. L5. I don't think you know how spikes work.
Oh yeah, it's wearing heavy duty boots. It's immune to hazards, idiot.
Oh.
Well, no. It's a
Lol.
flying
Obviously,
type.
it's immune to spikes.
Well, no, it's because it's a flying type.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your opinion. Anyways, these are the final rankings.
Hey, imagine if you had like Boots Rotom fan, and it just like heals from spikes. Because it's like triple immune, you know?
Yeah,
Dude, air balloon should heal it.
true.
Facts.
Oh, by
Not
the
even
way,
heal it
Cookie
from
was like a
spikes, just heal it in
replacement.
general. Like, it wears an air balloon and then, like, it just acts as leftovers.
You know, they make an item for that.
It's called leftovers. Honestly, what's even the point in this last slide? I guess so that you could see the ranking.
In case you like got bored and was like scrolling through TikTok during half of the video, here's the recap.
Yeah.
If you only wanted to look at your team ranking and then scroll to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that involves me like making a timestamp for it.
No, it's okay. They can figure it out.
Everyone goes to the end. Everyone.
No,
goes.
whenever they hear Blue telling them to go to the end, they'll go.
Yeah,
to the end.
exactly,
They
and
need
it's
to go
at
to
the end.
To hear Blue telling them to go to the end, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
okay.
paradox
They'll
of
know.
some sort. Yeah.
Okay, Blue will simply leave a comment.
Oh.
Okay, please go to the end.
Really breaking
are-
the fourth wall here.
Wait, so what are these ranked on? Are they ranked on the colors of the teams?
Some of them are
Oh,
colorful.
yeah,
A lot
you're
of them aren't
new
very
here.
colorful.
Mhm. Gotta make sure they all
let's
have
go
enough
back
yellow.
as a recap for everyone. These are the things we're judging the teams based on.
What
so
is that image?
What is that cat?
So the most important thing is in a team is how good the team is.
Oh, really?
How good it looks on the draft page, so
Yeah,
that
with
when
the
I look at
colors.
You gotta
Yeah,
look
with
at
the colors.
Okay. If
Yeah.
in that case, I'd show you what my highest ranked team is. This one. It looks the best because it has an
It's a
Iron
very
Hands.
colorful team.
Yeah, that's very colorful.
Dude, there was only one Iron Hands team.
I'll be
Wait,
honest,
there
DJ's
was
team
only
clears
one
this
Iron
in
Hand.
colors.
Yeah, TJ's team was really clean in colors.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, look at that.
Look,
Yeah,
dude,
the
that's
problem's
beautiful.
Uxie.
The problem's the Uxie.
No, Uxie's yellow.
No,
There's
Uxie's
yellow
not a
one.
problem.
Okay, I think
If
this
anything,
right's
the
just small.
problem
Maybe
is
it
the
looks better
Knuckle
on
stack. That mon is
Yeah.
ugly as hell.
Yeah, the
It's
Knuckle
so
stack
ugly.
ruins the color vibe.
this
Zooch
looks-
is also great colors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
one's okay.
The
I
yellow
fucking
eyes
hate
of the
Zooch,
screen.
though.
Bro, that
Oh,
is
okay.
really good colors.
Oh, this one's the
Okay,
goat. This is the best
Yeah,
colors
dude,
of all
look at
time.
those
Best
colors.
team.
You think this one's the best colors, bro? There's like
It's
5
so
like
vibrant.
darker Mons. I don't.
No,
This is the
look
best
at-
colors of all
it's the
time.
Diversity.
Dude,
Don't
this
finish
looks
that
so
joke.
nice
Don't
aesthetically.
finish that
This
joke.
guy met the diversity quota.
Dude,
Yeah,
the thing with
exactly.
colors though, you can put your hand over the bottom ones because they don't matter. If you look at the top 6, beautiful.
Oh, just the top 6.
So
yeah.
pretty.
Dude,
Okay,
you can
I
even
get
look
what
at
you
the
mean.
Claude. The Claude's so dapper. Look at him.
Is
Dude, he's having a good time. Dude,
Yeah.
the Claw's just along for the ride. He's on a good team in terms of colors, good team in terms of like
He just
mon.
vibes.
Yeah.
he's just there.
He's just there to do the hazard stuff, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clocks into his
Yeah.
9 to 5,
Yeah.
sets up some rocks, maybe a spike.
Maybe
Yeah, gets a
even a
toxic off and
T-spike.
dies.
Yeah.
That's my goat.
At what point do I consider ending this video? Oh, I know.
Hey there,
now.
do you have a Palafin? No. Water absorb.
Thank you for
Oh,
watching
oh.
the video.
This
You're
is also
welcome.
Better
Very-
colors.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah,
welcome for
dude,
being
look at those
here.
colors. Those colors are nice.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
ending now. Goodbye.